Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over tomorrow's early MLB main slate for today on DraftKings, the one that starts at 4 o'clock. Before we continue though, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. Also, I know I said I probably wasn't going to record a NASCAR video this weekend, but I ended up doing it anyway, so I'd recommend checking that out. I also recommend checking out the UFC video we put out on Friday morning. So if you are going to be playing MLB DFS, I'd recommend checking that out. It should be about like 3 videos ago, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. And anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at cpen_16. That's at 2 N's. And yeah, let's get into the model. So I don't do a cheat sheet for the early slates. I already got over that. And like I said, I'm going to be really busy tomorrow, so I'm going to try to get that cheat sheet video out. But if I don't, just if you have access to the cheat sheet, it's not very hard to find it. So you'll still have all my plays I like, because I'm going to fill out the cheat sheet still. It's just a matter of if I'm going to be able to get a video out in time or not for the 7 o'clock slate. So anyway, let's go into some of my favorite plays from the early slate. So for pitchers, I should say, if you want access to this model, which I have on the screen right now, shoot me a DM on Twitter and I'll send you the link. Alright, anyway, let's get into this. So my SP1 is going to be Steven Matz. I know targeting Miami did not work out with DeGrom yesterday, which sucks. I think he went negative. I mean, he was like 80% owned in cash, but still, I mean, I cannot believe he went negative. But yeah, he's my top projected pitcher out of all these guys. Best value on the board, highest projection, and just best matchup, really. He's coming off the injured list. Should be able to get around, his usual amount of pitches. And I mean, he's not the worst pitcher. I don't really like him that much, really, but it's just the way the slate is. He's probably the best pitcher. I had pitchers from both slates on here anyway, so if you're wondering why there's so many. But yeah, 8,600, 7.5 over or under, only 3.64 runs implied against him. And the matchup's good as well. We got green everywhere. We got 27% K rate from Miami, 0.094 ISO, 260 WOBA. And it's a good pitcher's park as well, the best pitcher's park on the slate, so I'm really interested in the league. So I think Matt's going to be the SP1. I expect him to be pretty popular, but don't mind using him at all. Then in the same game, we have a really nice cheap guy, because I really want to spend up on bats on the slate, as you're going to see soon. So I don't mind going in the same game. Pablo Lopez at 6,600. I have him and Matz as my two top value pitchers on the slate. Not really that close either. And I know he got bombed last time he played against the Mets, but I think he can have a decent enough outing as for 6,600. Plus, I think the slate's going to be one with the bats anyway. And if you look at his ERA, he's actually been getting a little unlucky, so that's a good sign for him. He's got a 20% K rate, which isn't very good, but he doesn't walk a ton of people, which is good too. And he keeps the ball on the ground for the most part and limits the hard contact. So, and it's the lowest over under on the slate, so I think it's a decent spot for him. Only 3.86 runs implied against him. And I usually like using lefties versus the Mets, but the cool thing about Lopez is he's actually kind of reverse splits guy, where he actually gets hit by righties more rather than lefties. So if the Mets aren't smart enough to realize that, they're going to throw a lot of lefties out there, which would be a good thing for Lopez, really. So don't mind Lopez at all. I think it's a decent enough matchup, and at only 6,600, using him and Matt is pretty much going to let you do whatever the heck you want to do with your bats, which is kind of what I want to do in this slate. But if you want a more of a GPP option at pitcher, John Means is interesting to me. The Indians sucked last night or tonight, whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, they only got 1 run against Bundy, and Means has not been very bad at all this year. I think he's sporting. I don't like using ERA, but I think he's got like a sub-3 ERA right now, and he's been pretty good. Where's he at? Okay, so yeah, John Means 7,500, and he's, as like I said, he's been doing good. He hasn't been walking people. 5.7 walk rate, which is I think is second best on the whole slate for tomorrow. Decent enough swing and strike rate, and his changeup is pretty darn good. So, and he's got the least amount of hard contact allowed on the slate, 25%, so that's good. Now, they do have the Indians with a bunch of runs implied against him, but I have to think that's coming from the bullpen when he comes out of the game, because that bullpen is bad, and I actually think John Means should have a decent enough game, and plus the Indians are much better against righties. I know they have a lot of switch hitters like Lindor and Ramirez and Carlos Santana, but all those guys hit righties better than they hit lefties. So I think John Means is in an interesting spot here, and I don't mind it at all. And the Indians will strike out. So I'm going to take you guys to Plate IQ for the hitters because I'd like to sort these by team, and I do not know how to sort my own model by team without it looking weird. So, but here's the projections I have for the guys. So I know it likes a lot of the Rangers lefties. I know like some Cardinals guys and so whatnot, but and a lot of the Dodgers lefties. So if you want to get access to this, just like I said, do what I said earlier, and then you'll have access to look at all this. It's got the team ice. It's got the ISO for that batter versus that pitcher, and then the power difference from a right-handed to a left-handed pitcher. And it's got the over-unders as well in the run line. So it's pretty much got everything you need in one spot, and I think it's a big help. So anyway, let's go into Plate IQ and take a look at this. So let me fix this so you guys can see it actually. Okay, I think you guys can see that. Nope. Sorry. Bear with me here. Okay. Alright. So, into Plate IQ. So we're going to our pitchers. So for the top stacks, for me it's going to be the St. Louis and Texas game. This is where I think all the runs are going to be scored. So I definitely like all these St. Louis guys going against. They have it as Gerardo. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, he's not very good. I know he's been decent this year, but overall, I don't think he's going to be a good, long reliever. And that's what they have him projected as a normal starter for today. And I think the Cardinals are going to put up a lot of runs today. Matt Carpenter being one of my favorite plays going against this guy. But really, the whole lineup's in play because once they get to that bullpen's bad too. So, and like I said, this is a 12 over under, and I think the Cardinals are over 6 implied runs. So it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a lot of fireworks here. So Matt Carpenter's leading the way with me, then Paul Goldschmidt, De Jong, whatever you say his name, Ozuna, Martinez, Yadier Molina, all these guys are in play, even the guys in the back end. So definitely like all the Cardinals versus the Rangers bullpen, I guess you want to call it. And then in the same game, I like the Rangers a lot versus Hudson. Hudson is not good versus lefties at all. He's been very good versus righties, like very good, limiting the power, 0.035 ISO to righties, and just really he's got some elite numbers versus righties, not the K rate or anything, but very good versus them. But versus the lefties, he's gonna have a lot of trouble. And the thing about Texas is they have lefty power. That's what they're known for, really. And he's gonna see a lot of lefties. I'm seeing one righty again, and that's Falefa. So that's a massive amount of lefties, and I think he's in for a really, really rough day. So guys like Shin-Soo Choo, Willie Calhoun, Mazzara, Gallo, Cabrera, Odor, Santana, Guzman, they're all in play, like literally all of them. Top place would be Joey Gallo just because of his power, Rougned Odor because of second base position, but really the whole lineup's in play. I know Mazzara is a little bit cheaper. So like all these guys in this game is really where I want to go, and you should be able to do it with the pitchers I listed for you guys to use because you're only using about 14,000 salary for those guys, so definitely have a lot of room to go with. And then never mind. But the Dodgers, I really like the Dodgers as well. They're not too far behind the Cardinals in Texas. So I was trying to say they're in an awesome spot versus Molly. I think you say it, Mall, whatever. Again, just like Hudson, but Hudson's better versus righties. But this guy, he still gives up hard contact to righties. This guy, but versus lefties, he gets absolutely shelled, kind of like Desclafani, but even worse. So he's giving up a lot of massive amount of power to lefties, and the Dodgers, just like the Rangers, it's kind of like a similar spot. The Dodgers have a lot of lefty power, and we're in Great American Ballpark, which is great for the Dodgers getting a good park boost there. So I know the Dodgers just did very well versus Desclafani tonight, and all the lefties did. So Jock Peterson's one of the best plays of the slate. Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, and Corey Seager, and even Verdugo. So I like all these guys. The top plays obviously being Peterson and Bellinger, and then Seager just because of position scarcity in the shortstop position. So I like all these guys. And then a sneakier stack for me would be the Baltimore Orioles going against Adam Plutko. Another guy. I feel like there's just a lot of guys that struggle versus lefties on this slate. So let's take a look at 552 xFIP, and then versus lefties, he's giving up a 348 ISO and just giving up a massive amount of power to all of them. So, sorry. But yeah, so I think it's an awesome matchup for all these Orioles lefties. We got guys like VR, Dominic Smith, or Dwight Smith, Chris Davis, Stevie Wilkerson, Ryan Ruiz. So really, all the lefties are in play for me. Smith being the best play, but he's really expensive at 5,000. But if Chris Davis is betting cleanup, I think that's really interesting to me, especially because he's usually hitting lower in the order, and he's decently priced at 3,500. So I think he's a very nice play. And then VR being one of the top plays as well. So just really quick, I just want to go over some of my core plays and value plays. So for me, my core right now would be Carpenter at 3,900, just leading off for the Cardinals. Steve Matz 8,600, and then some of the Dodgers players as well, like Corey Seager or Bellinger or Peterson. I try to get one of those guys in. And then for the value plays, Matt Carpenter at 3,900, Chris Davis at 3,500, and Corey Seager at 4,000. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. So remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. I will try to get my cheat sheet video out, but if not, I will have my cheat sheet done, just not the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. Check out the UFC video and the NASCAR video that I just posted. And I wish you guys the best of luck.